Hello everyone and welcome back for another video. Well, we just got a preview of the squadrons, or some of the squadrons at least, we're going to be getting in the Republic Fighter Squadrons expansion pack. And they look really interesting, and I just wanted to put out a video giving you my thoughts on them. So first up, we got to see the Delta 7 Aether Sprite Squadron. Aether Sprite? I think it's Aether Sprite. I'm really getting tired of trying to figure out how to exactly pronounce all these names. But it is a squadron, looks to be the more interceptor type squadron we get in this pack. It has 4 hull, 4 movement, anti-squadron of 3 blue and a black, and an anti-ship of 1 blue. Alright, so far. Adept 1, this is a new ability. While attacking, you may reroll 1 die. So it's effectively like a better swarm. It has counter 2 and dodge 1. Dodge 1 being while you are defending against a squadron during the spend defense token step, you may choose 1 die to be re-rolled. So, even though this doesn't have any defense tokens, you can still re-roll 1 die. So, if say you're going up against someone, they got a black die that got a hit against you, you can re-roll that. Yeah, this looks like a pretty solid interceptor type squadron. Moves at speed 4, not at speed 5 like in TIE interceptors or A-wings, but still very, very solid. Only downside I can see here is that point cost. Yeah, 17 points. That's more expensive than a lot of aces. So this is a very strong squadron, but very fragile. It doesn't have any defense tokens and very, very expensive. Still though, really super cool looking squadron. We're also shown the aces for the Aether Sprite squadrons, the first being Luminara Unduli. Luminara is, well, she's exactly the same as a regular Aether Sprite. She just loses dodge 1, gains 2 defense tokens, brace, scatter, and costs 23 points as opposed to 17, but she also gets the unique effect here. While an enemy squadron at distance 1 is attacking a non-unique friendly squadron, the attack is treated as obstructed. Wow. Yeah. That's a really, really strong support effect there. And I definitely see Luminara Unduli being run with, say, several squadrons of V19 Torrents, where your opponent has to attack the Torrents first since they have escort, but Luminara Unduli is there making those Torrents harder to kill. Yeah, this looks like a really, really strong squadron to me. Following Luminara, we have Plocoon or Plocoon. Same stats as a regular Aether Sprite, except he gains Brace, Scatter, and is 24 points as opposed to 23 with Luminara or 17 for a base Aether Sprite. Loses Dodge 1, but now his Adept is 2 instead of Adept 1, and he has the effect non-unique friendly squadrons without counter at distance 1 gain counter 1. Another really, really strong force multiplier. Yeah, Plocoon, another very strong one. I don't know if gaining counter 1 is necessarily quite as strong in a massive squadron ball as Luminara Unduli, given how big and beefy we see that these Republican squadrons are becoming. Even so, though, Plocoon, however you pronounce it, this looks like a really, really fun squadron. The third Aether Sprite ace is Ahsokatano. She continues the trend of Aether Sprite aces not having dodge, but she gains grit instead, has the brace, the scatter, and costs 23 points, same as Luminar, and gains her unique effect. After you move, you may choose another friendly squadron at distance 1. That squadron performs an attack against an enemy squadron at distance 1 with an anti-squadron armament of 2 blue dice, even if it is already activated. Wow. So another friendly squadron, so you can use that on, say, Plocoon, who has Adept 2, who can reroll those 2 blue dice. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of these Aether Sprite aces being run simply because they are a little more expensive at 23, 24 points apiece, but they are very, very strong, I feel. These effects here, these unique effects on these aces are very, very strong, but that said, I don't think it's going to be oppressively strong since, because of the new rules changes, we can only run 4 aces in a list. So, plus side there, on the other hand, all of these look like a lot of fun to me, and I want to run them, especially since these aces appear just to be great force multipliers for your squadron lists. And the final Aether Sprite ace is Fisto. Kit Fisto has Adept 2, Counter 2, and Intel, so none of these Aether Sprite aces have dodge. However, he has the unique effect when you spend a defense token, you may discard it. If you do, reduce the total damage by 3 instead of resolving that token's effect. Wow. He has 26 points, so he is a very, very expensive squadron. But he has Intel, Counter 2, Adept 2, and he's got this effect that means that you can negate up to 6 damage just off of spending those defense tokens. So Kit Fisto can soak up to 10 damage in one squadron. Plus, that's not even taking into account the fact that he could spend the brace and then discard it. Yeah, this looks like a very, very tough squadron to get through. Very, very annoying squadron. But he has 26 points. This is not a cheap squadron by any means. But still, what a cool effect. Moving on from the Aether Sprites, we have the Arc 170 Starfighter Squadron. This is the base squadron. Movement of 2, 7 hull, anti-squadron attack of 1 red and 2 blue. 2 blue anti-ship attack. It has bomber, counter 1, and costs 15 points. So, getting it out of the way first, yeah, movement 2. My fellow Rebel players who love running YT-1300s and B-Wings, I feel ya. Movement 2 hurts. But once you get over movement 2, the rest of the stuff here looks great. A bomber with counter 1's always good because, well, your opponent wants to kill the bombers, and making them counter 1 means that it's going to be harder and more prickly against enemy squadrons. And the fact that they have 7 hull means that enemy ships are going to have that much harder of a time getting through them. So, yeah, movement 2 aside, very, very solid looking Republic bomber squadron. And the one Arc 170 ace we were shown is Oddball. Same stats as a regular Arc 170, just a couple changes here. His anti-squadron armament is now 2 blue and a black as opposed to a red and 2 blues. He costs 23 points, and he gains a brace and an evade defense token. Here, seeing that evade defense token coming in again. And he also has a unique effect. While attacking, if you move during this activation, you may reroll up to 2 dice. Wow. So this is a squadron that you absolutely want to be activating with a ship. Always. Because when you're activating him with a ship, you're rerolling both blue dice when you're bombing an enemy ship, and you're rerolling 2 of your 3 anti-squadron shots when you're attacking an enemy squadron. Very, very strong squadron. Again, a little more expensive at 23 points. All of these, so far what I'm seeing, a lot of these New Republic squadrons are more expensive. But Oddball is definitely worth those 23 points in my opinion, because he is a very, very strong bomber. We next got to see the BTLB Y-Wing Squadron, the forerunners to the iconic Rebel Y-Wings. And in all honesty, these things are practically identical, with the one exception being that their anti-squadron attack is a blue and a black instead of 2 blue with the Rebel Y-Wing. But, seeing as how the Republic doesn't have their own Torn Far, at least not that we've seen yet, yeah, this is probably about as good, if not slightly better, since black dice are a little more reliable when it comes to damaging enemy squadrons. But yeah, 10 points, bomber heavy, bombing for a black, movement 3, 6 hull. Yeah, just a cheap, solid bomber, just like the Rebel Y-Wings. And the Y-Wing ace we got to see is Anakin Skywalker. Still has movement 3 and 6 hull, but his anti-squadron attack is 3 blue now, and his anti-ship is a red and a blue. He is Adept 2, Bomber, and Heavy. Adept 2 being very, very strong on a bomber squadron. He's 19 points, has 2 brace defense tokens, and he has the special effect, during your activation, you may spend 1 defense token to ignore engagement until the end of your activation. Wow. So, Anakin Skywalker can park himself in front of an enemy ship, and even if your opponent sends in squadrons to try and lock Anakin Skywalker down, he spends 1 of his brace defense tokens and says, no, yeah, I don't really feel like shooting at enemy squadrons, I want to blow up the enemy ship. And then he does, and he can do it really well because he is Adept 2, so he's rerolling a red and a blue while bombing. Yeah, this is a really, really strong bomber. 19 points. Yeah, I would, if I'm running a bomber heavy list, I'm definitely taking Anakin Skywalker. There's no question here. This is a great bombing squadron. FFG also posted the V19 Torn Squadron card in this article as well. We've already seen it, just quick refresh. Movement 3, 5 hull. Anti-squadron value of 1 red, 2 blue, anti-ship of 1 black, escorts and swarm, 12 points. This is a pretty solid escort squadron. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I think running several Torn squadrons with Luminara unduly is going to be a very, very strong combo, just because you have to shoot at the Torns with escort, and now the Torns are also obstructed thanks to Luminara. Yeah. We've already seen this. I just wanted to go over it again because just a strong squadron with one of the aces they showcased. And the final squadron card we were shown is Kickback, the second V19 Torn ace we've seen after Axe that we're getting in the core set. And Kickback is, well, same stats as a regular V19. 3 movement, 5 hull, 1 red, 2 blue anti-squadron, 1 black anti-ship, escort, swarm. He gains 2 brace defense tokens, costs 16 points, and has the unique effect: after you perform an attack, you may move up to distance 1 even if you are engaged. So if you attack and you want to make sure that the rest of an enemy squadron group is tied up, well, then Kickback allows you to do that. Or maybe you need to move him up closer to a friendly squadron that you need to keep an escort on because it's fragile, you don't want it being shot at. Kickback's great for that. 16 points, yeah, this is a pretty solid ace for 16 points. I like it. I mean, doesn't do anything super flashy like, say, Ahsokatano or Plocoon or Kit Fisto, but he's 16 points, he's a cheaper ace, and I feel he just gets the job done. So, yeah. So that about wraps this video up. I know it wasn't super long, but I just wanted to talk about these squadrons because they look really, really cool. Kit Fisto, Ahsokatano, and Anakin Skywalker in particular look like a lot of fun. And when I finally get all this Clone Wars stuff, I'm probably going to look at building a list with those 3 because they look like a ton of fun in my opinion, and I definitely want to try them out. And I'm also really excited because now that we got the Republic squadrons, we're probably going to be getting the Separatist squadron preview in a few days here. But until then, let me know what you think of the video down in the comments, and I will see you when we get that Separatist preview.